Hi folks, Ryan Hamilton here, Government Affairs Associate for the Minnesota Catholic Conference, and I'm here with Sebastian Modarelli, and Sebastian is the music director here at the Co-Cathedral of St. John the Evangelist down in Rochester, Minnesota. We just completed Bishop Barron's beautiful ordination Mass, and Sebastian coordinated and orchestrated the music for that beautiful service. And in addition to being a maestro of music, he's also a district leader for our Catholic Advocacy Network down in Rochester, the greater Rochester area, which covers Olmsted County.
Yeah, and Olmsted, Dodge Center, I think.
Sure, and that's Senate Districts 25 and 26. And we've been chatting here about, Bishop Barron gave a great homily where he mentioned evangelization and helping the poor. And one ways we can do that is through engaging in the public square. Catholics are called to be engaged as faithful citizens and helping shape our public policies. So, Sebastian, why do you think it's so important for Catholics to be involved in the public square and let their voices be heard in the public square?
I tell you why it is important to me, because I think, to me, the greatest thing about being involved, the thing that makes me enthusiastic and not just complaining about things, how they go, is the fact that there's a chance, a possibility to verify that Christ is the truth that everyone is waiting for. We are not just proposing certain values that are common to a certain specific party, but in the encounter with different candidates who are very thirsty to listen to people, to you. When I went to some local debate for local candidates, for House representatives and so on, it is amazing to see the few people that are interested in them. And I always try to, and it's not difficult, to establish relationships with them, to dialogue with them. For me, the reason is exactly that in dialogue with them, facing the issues, I realized that the way in which Jesus lives life and shows us how life is more fulfilling, more interesting for anyone, whatever their ideology or position is.
Sure. And so I mentioned that Sebastian is a district leader. What motivated you to step up in that role as a district leader, and what have we asked you to do?
So, the reason why I stepped into that role is because there were not many candidates. It wasn't a difficult election to run, let's say. I was happy to vote just as one more, but it is something, again, very enthusiastic because you get to be the face, in a certain way, of your district in front of all those politicians, although they don't care just about the district leader, they care about each of us being involved. What I was asked by the Minnesota Conference is very simple. It's not that complicated. You guys are amazing. You give an amazing training. You are very well organized. And so the thing you ask is to be on top, to promote to people, especially among Catholics, to contact whenever the representatives, but in particular for me has been the Catholics at the Capitol. When we go there to prepare, to follow up. We had last year wonderful, with COVID it was actually kind of an advantage in a certain way. We had these Zoom calls and there was time to sit down and to dialogue with the senator, our senator and our House representative from A and B district, and it was a wonderful opportunity. So what you ask is not very much.
So we were chatting about the current state of politics in our country and how many of our elected leaders are behaving as members of teams rather than leaders and shepherds of the common good. So, as Catholics, we're called to promote the common good and be in, we use the phrase relationship, where our faith has a culture of encounter. So as we encounter our elected officials and encourage them to pursue the common good, oftentimes that takes courage. We're asking to do something courageous. And it's hard to ask something of a stranger. So do you have any tips on how Catholics can develop relationships with their elected officials and their state representatives?
Yeah, so again, what I said at the beginning, the truth becomes evident when you risk it, when you put it to risk, an experience. To know if a ship can float, you need to put it in the water. So I think now we are in a very partisan environment in our families, not just, Congress, let's say, shows what happens in our own families, in our own neighborhoods. People who distance themselves because they don't agree. We need to realize and remember that, and also was part of taking from the homily from Bishop Barron, but when Jesus came, there was no Christianity. So he had all the ideologies that we have nowadays, the same pagan world, nothing is different. So once I was in the capital with a group, and we had seen a certain House representative, and then we were going for the other one.
Sure.
The other one had certain positions about pro-choice, etc., that were against that. And some of my group said, okay, we have the appointment with this one, but I don't know why we are going because we don't think the same.
Yeah.
Wrong. I mean, that's not what we are. That's not what Jesus did either.
Wonderful.
So we need to go and we enter in a relationship. Jesus was passionate of entering a relationship with publicans, with sinners, with mafia people, so he wasn't afraid of anyone. Sorry, and then you said something else that maybe you're, what Catholics can do about it. So to enter a relationship, I think to do exactly that. You know, when you receive, first subscribe, I will subscribe to your wonderful newsletter or whatever you call it.
MNCatholic.org.
Thank you. So then that's important
And the
because
Catholic Advocacy Network.
Catholic Advocacy Network. That's very good because we receive emails, it's all very well detailed, it's very easy to follow. If you have a question you ask, they will get back to you and make a phone call. You know, it's not the same to have 10 people making a phone call than having 100,000 in the district or whatever. So those kind of things will make a huge difference, and we don't need to call and say, hey, do this because we are angry at you. That's not how it works. We say, please consider doing this because of this and that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, in speaking with legislators and senators, you'd be surprised how few of their voters, of their constituents, actually call them. And so they admit, hey, if 5 people call me on an issue, they think the whole world's on fire. So one person, 5 people can make a difference. So thank you, Sebastian. This has been wonderful. And thank you for your service to the Catholic Advocacy Network. Thank you for being a shepherd of Catholic constituents down here in Rochester. And we look forward to working with you.
Thank you very much.